And good morning. Welcome to the Hub All-Star Breakfast. My name's John Grisco. I've been involved with the Hub since its inception and on the Hub board for just over a year. This is my fifth All-Star Breakfast. My fellow board members and I appreciate you taking the time to join us this morning. Before we enjoy this great breakfast, virtual breakfast, I'd like to invite a fellow board member and one of our founders, Episcopal Bishop Brian Pryor, to lead us in a blessing of our time together this morning.
Thank you, John, and good morning, everyone. Picture, if you will, a young person sitting, but their legs are going 100 miles an hour, waiting and waiting and waiting for the bell to ring, for recess, for school to get out, for the start of the summer, for the start of the game. That sums up my childhood. I could not wait to get on the court, on the field, or in the driveway. As the youngest of three boys, there were always plenty of kids and siblings and other folks around to play whatever game or activity. And besides endless hours of fun, my days on the court or on the field provided me with lifelong lessons that are still very much a part of my life today. What it is to have a collective goal that's aspirational, that wonderful, great combination of hard work while having fun that really reinforces resilience, fairness, and healthy competition, how to lose well and how to celebrate appropriately. But maybe most importantly, between sports and summer church camp, I learned what I believe are two of life's most important lessons. It's summed up in Kipling's Law of the Jungle. The strength of the pack is the wolf, and the strength of the wolf is the pack. What that's really about is, what is it like to live in community? How to navigate humanity? How to work and live and move with a whole variety of people who are different than you and have different experiences and that. How to live and to be with those folks. And the second is that I had a particular set of gifts that were different than my brothers and best friends. And it's what we say in basketball, that some of us are made to be guards and some of us are posts. But the important thing is to get clear what those gifts were, and then through good coaching and other good encouragement of folks, that the sky was the limit of what I could do with that. As a long-time girls high school basketball coach at Freeman, over and over again, I have the privilege of watching student athletes learn how to work together, how to be a team, and more importantly, how to be a community, even a family. And likewise, to watch students take the gifts they have to heights that they never imagined. That's the incredible blessing of the Hub for our community. Day in and day out, it provides a space for a variety of folks near and far, for a variety of options, to play together, to learn together, to improve individually and collectively. Thanks to the Hub, all those young people are waiting for the bell to ring. Each have a great place to go and to learn and grow all year long. One of my favorite theologians is Philip Brooks. And before I offer the prayer, this is what he says about prayer. Do not pray for easy lives, pray to be stronger. Do not pray for tasks equal to your powers, pray for powers equal to your task. That the doing of your work shall be no miracle, but you yourself shall be a miracle. Every day you shall wonder at yourself, at the richness of life which has come to you by the grace of God. Let us pray. Gracious and loving God, we give you thanks for the blessing of the Hub, through which lives are changed and our community is enriched. We pray that you will help us to continue to be good stewards of the blessing of the Hub, so that for generations to come, more and more will have the opportunity that all the Hub has to offer. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Brian, very much. That was awesome. We'd like to take a moment and thank a few people who have joined us this morning. Thank you to our Platinum sponsors. The Platinum sponsors, amazing. Thanks for your support. Thanks for your wonderful donations as a sponsor and leaning in. We'd like to thank our Gold sponsors. Once again, please look at the screen. These businesses and folks are really supporting the Hub in a big way. And to our Silver sponsors for this year's breakfast. our virtual breakfast. And I hope you're enjoying the virtual breakfast. But take a time and thank these businesses that you have just seen on your screen. I'd like to thank you, the community-minded leaders in our businesses. Our region is a better place because we have you supporting worthwhile nonprofits. We are honored that you have chosen to support the Hub Sports Center. We'd like to thank a few groups of people, all of our current and past Hub board members, elected officials and or public servants, our first responders, active and retired military personnel, all of our healthcare workers at this time, and all of the educators and support staff. Our new Hub program guide, which lists all the Hub Sports Center events is for 2021-22 year, is now available at the Hub for you to pick up. At this time, I'd like to present our guest speaker, Mary McDirmid. Mary is a mother of 2 girls, a wife of Jay McDermott, and managing director and special care planner at Mass Mutual Northwest. She also a former state champion and Division I athlete who mentors leaders every day. Thank you for coming and sharing your story with us.
Thank you, Phil and the board. I was so moved by the last speaker that we had in person. I walked up to Phil after and stated out loud, "If you need a speaker in the future, I'm here for you." And he called me, and I'm here today for that. So he called me out. So that's what you get. But the story today is about sports make you feel less alone, and they give you a way to get better. The bus ride. You can't play sports very long without being introduced to a bus ride. Buses are usually noisy, drafty, and on the way home from a game, buses can feel full of regret. When I was 17, I rode a bus home from Yakima after winning a state championship in basketball. Most of us had been together as a team since the 4th grade, so the victory was really, really sweet. My teammates went to sleep, but I could not. All around me were exhausted teammates drifting off to dreamland after playing their hearts out, and nothing about that scene made me the least bit sleepy. That was the time I fell in love with process. All those little steps you take every day, the sacrifices, the choices, and the hard lessons that all lead up to reaching some significant goal. And not every process leads to a championship, but I knew that we've never been in that realm of possibilities without doing all the work. That's the payoff for hard work. Sometimes you get to ride home in a bus with a trophy. I know I'm supposed to talk about the struggles of my youth and how sports changed the trajectory of my life. But the real gems for me have been through the fear, the struggle, and the failure. That's where we learn the most. I grew up alone and abandoned. We were poor, and I knew that normal stuff like meals and a supportive environment would only happen if I did something. Resources were scarce, and out of that scarcity, I joined every sports team and activity I could find. I was opposite of our wonderful speaker earlier. I wasn't jittery to go home because I would have been by myself. The team gave me grit, the power of teamwork, and an innate ability to never let anyone feel alone. I can still French braid and throw clay with the best of them, thanks to the Senior Center's free summer classes. But being on the basketball court let me forget everything else that was going on. When you have a scarcity mentality, you use a lot of the tools to escape, and sports was mine. And to be 100% honest, it still is. I still need sports to escape some of the stress that we have. I was the kid whose dad worked at the gas station and who stole tampons from my best friend's house. Thanks, Mrs. Lindquist. My biggest fear in those days were being found out that I was doing all the laundry, making the meals, cleaning the house, figuring out boys, my body, and my self-worth alone. What are they all gonna think when they find out? When it came time to decide on college, I flipped a coin. I struggled to make decisions because of fear. I was divorced before my 25th birthday, but that's not the failure part. I take 50% of the responsibility of getting married to the wrong person, but I'm gonna take 100% of the responsibility of getting out of it. With my first marriage, that's actually the best part of the story. I married an abusive man, and I knew this decision was wrong, but I was afraid. He picked me out of a room. If there's any Frozen fans out there, I was Anna with the prince, so eager for love. All this while being one of the stars of a collegiate basketball team. It's not always what it looks like on the outside. And this one ended on my terms. I realized there's worse things than being alone, like living with abuse. In basketball, especially in high school, I wasn't the best player on the team. My really great friend, Carrie Sauer, was. And what an amazing player she was. She did everything perfectly, and she put in all the work to do it. She was in the right spot. She made all the shots. I was more that super annoying, scrappy, in-your-face player, like a mix of Dennis Rodman and Jermaine O'Neal. Not ideal, but it works. Carrie's talent made everyone around her better, and my biggest risk was being crushed under the pressure of not being her. And I decided I wasn't going to be her, ever. I was going to be the best me. So we made each other so much better by challenging each other every day. We had to guard each other. And I talked with Carrie this summer about this talk, about what it was about. And she said, I didn't know any of that was going on. I thought you were the cool kid. And in my head, I thought, that's exactly what I wanted you to believe. When I earned the starting spot on the team, I actually wanted to tell my coach I didn't want it. I liked watching the first 2 minutes of a game. I could know all the players. I could know how to counter them. I was always watching. I also hated standing in the circle because I was this tall, probably 30 pounds less, and people would look at me and think, oh, this is going to be easy. And if you know me, underestimating me was a mistake. And they all learned that. Dennis Rodman side. So yes, we won the state 2A championship. Mr. Frederick, my coach, held that trophy like a best friend in the front seat and wore a huge smile on his face all the way home. The process is what made this happen, and I knew I could make anything work in that moment, and I still think I can. Hard work is worth it above survival. The pivot point for us as a group was wasn't all the work we put in beating all the amazing GSL schools during the summer, which that was amazing, but it was the day Mr. Frederick one day told us to get on the line to run. And if you're a basketball player, running lines is a punishment, usually. But I looked at the faces of my teammates, and it wasn't anguish, it was excitement. We knew it would make us faster, better, and attitude is everything. And I think on any team, it's easy to see who complains about running lines. They see the drill as torture. They fail to see the connection between the pain and where you ultimately want to go. So don't stop running those lines. Your trophy moments are coming. Sports made me feel less alone, but it's also provided a way for me to get better. Pick your team. I have been part of many teams in my career, but the best of the best is my husband, Jay Mcdermott. The two things my soul needs are support and respect, and he's the best human for me. Performance depends on practice, and there's a lot of quotes out there about practice, and I think you can rely on it in your worst times, and I have. But the real question is what creates the experience of your worst day? I have some real amazing bosses, mentors, and guides in my life that picked me for their team. And most of them are here today, virtually. I wanted to make them all stand up and wave, but instead, you get an introduction. Forrest and Tammy Owenby, they taught me how to work hard under pressure, and I can lead 2 other 18-year-olds around putting out actual wildfires. Greg Stewart, process and attitude, man. Find your stable datum and hold your boundaries. Mitch and Dave Silver, your team will respect you when you're in the trenches with them, and collective corrections are real. Max Spalding, you taught me that you would love me no matter if I was working for you or not, and I cherish that. Neil Heckerman and Jesse McDaniel, not being able to do actual work and leading a team to a project is a huge asset, and keeping engineers accountable is a big challenge. Michael Murray taught me I'm a separate person from my work. Every day I drive home and I'm awesome no matter what happened that day. And I was made for greatness. And Jim Cipher, I would follow you into a battle, and I know you would also follow me. These are the people I was able to observe and learn from, while at the same time experimenting on the fringe of my scope of work. Thank you for allowing me to grow. Because of the culmination of experience and belief in myself, I had the courage to become my own boss as a financial planner today. In business, you will lose sometimes. I don't ever lose. Oh, that's not right. If you don't ever lose, maybe that's a sign that the way you work values safety over progress. I fail all the time. I just did. Guess how many mistakes I've made so far? The trick is to use those flaws and failures to your advantage. Don't let that voice in your head become the bad coach who beats you up and tells you can't do it. I hope the teams you are on and the sports you play or coach make you feel less alone. It's also worth mentioning that these structures also provide a way for you to improve. If you don't know, you were made for greatness. If I had to tell the people sitting around you, if you're in a group or just text somebody, a few of your strengths, what would you say? What do you consistently bring to a challenge? Here's my question. Are you bringing your strengths to the battles of your biggest challenges? Does your biggest test get the best version of you? Do you ever catch yourself asking, how little can I do and still be on the team? Jobs, marriages, parenting, and friendships. Maybe you're thinking about these areas like the torture of running lines. You need to up your game with the right attitude and daily steps. I want to thank you all for listening to this part of my story, and I'll finish with one more question. When was the last time you were the only one awake on the bus because you couldn't sleep and everything was possible?
Thanks, Mary. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's good stuff, and thank you for being willing to share and everything. And yeah, the last time I couldn't sleep was actually last night. So.
Me too. Thanks.
Thank you. Good morning. My name is Phil Champlin. I'm the Executive Director of the Hub Sports Center. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. Our purpose is to provide events to have a positive impact on youth and community. And we do that through joining the communities of faith, sports, education, business, and government to positively impact our youth and region through events and programs that enhance life skills. I'm really glad to be part of a lot of great teams, and Hub Sports Center is one of them, and our board of directors is an amazing group of people that give us advice and counsel. I'm part of a team with our staff at the Hub, and especially Ryan and Cassie, and we couldn't do all the events and programs we do without their help and support. But like Mary, the best team I'm on is my home team. My wife and my 3 kids give me the love, support, and encouragement I need to be successful, and I love being part of that team. So it's been an interesting year of activities and non-activities at the Hub Sports Center. From the initial shutdown in early March through February of this year, we were shut down and closed for 136 days, and we operated at less than 10% capacity for 205 days. Over this last year, we've relied on our Hub team to come up with some great creative ways to engage and interact with the community, and had some partnerships and collaborations. The support we received from you at this last breakfast really enabled us to do these types of programs and produce them for our community this year. So the list is long, but I'd really love to share with you what we've been up to and what we've been doing over this last year. So to start, we introduced drive-in movies at the Hub Sports Center, and God, we offered September and October a variety of shows. We averaged 90 cars coming to watch, and it was a great opportunity to give families a chance to get out and be in a safe environment, their car, and watch some fun flicks. And with the success of this, we were able to help out other groups that couldn't do their large gatherings. And so we had private school auction fundraisers, and we were able to show movies to support Cystic Fibrosis Foundation and Valley Fest, just to name a few. So we've continued with the drive-in movies this year. We actually have 3 showings later on here in October if you want to check out and try that throwback experience. In the fall, we were approached and worked with Central Valley School District to produce a learning support site. This was a place, as the kids went back to school virtually in a lot of spots, this was a spot that kids that needed access to Wi-Fi or families of first responders and frontline workers could come and do their school day at the hub. We had paraeducators from Central Valley that were there to help those kids get through their day. And as the school year went on, the staff and administration at the schools, the counselors, helped identify kids that were really struggling with that learning at home environment. And we were able to bring them to the hub and get their help with their schoolwork. And so with that, we also reached out to the Department of Education at Whitworth University. They had a bunch of future student teachers that really needed classroom hours. And again, with most of the schools back virtually, we're struggling to find a spot to place them. So we were able to place 11 students at the hub to help out with the Central Valley Learning Support Site, as well as our after-school programs. And so we had talked with some teachers and identified that physical education would be a challenge in that virtual learning environment. And so we started an after-school program that had PE, and that kind of went right alongside our homeschool PE programs and our special needs PE program. One of the other places that was identified as something that might be a challenge during virtual learning was hands-on STEM activities. And so we decided that we would put together some STEM camps for students. And we reached out to a local company called N2X to help produce curriculum that met the next generation science standards. And STCU came along as an underwriting sponsor, and so we were able to reach out and share curriculum for this. And we shared with the Girl Scouts of Eastern Washington, North Idaho, and with the Northeast Youth Center. So then we could do Teach the Teacher events, and they could use that information and stuff with their kids at their programs. And with the success we had in the fall, we were able to redo the program again in the wintertime. STCU stepped up again to do that. And so we added the Boys and Girls Club of North Idaho and the Boys and Girls Club of Spokane as curriculum leaders as well. And one of my favorites was the Whitworth students were there helping us build hot air balloons out of tissue paper. And so I've got a little clip from one of our sessions there.
Oh, it almost flipped over. Oh no, it slipped.
So hey, it got sideways and upside down, and then what happened? Yeah, because it went upside down, so where did all the hot air go? Out of the hole. So we gotta launch it so it goes straight up, right? So then it holds all the hot air at the top.
Oh, there we go. Nice job, guys. Nice. Nice job.
So we also started a reading program. And so we went out and engaged with local businesses to try and find a way that we could help out the teachers and bring a virtual person into the classroom to read to the students. And so we had great feedback from teachers and businesses and the impact that this had on them and the kids in the classroom. And so when it was all said and done, we had 15 businesses engaged with 73 teachers across 21 schools. And so it was a wonderful program that we were able to do again this fall. So November brought about the second shutdown for our facility. And as you can see, that came at a really difficult time for us. Normally 55% of the activity we do during the year is in that November through February timeframe. And so you can see the numbers from this past year. And this was probably one of the most difficult times, challenging times of the year for me. I'd be leaving the hub, it was cold and dark, rainy and snowy outside, and my building was dark. It was really hard to know that we couldn't use our building to its full capacity. So the saving grace for me was that learning support site, and knowing that we could at least provide a spot for some kids to come and get support, learn academically. It was great just to hear some noise going on in the building. But yeah, to get through that time was a huge challenge. So I was really grateful to have that learning support site there. As we waited for things to reopen, our staff kind of dreamed about what ifs and what are those different things that maybe could happen, or one of the things we landed on was this: what if we had an underground sports society or underground sports network, and you had to have a secret code or knock to get into play. So we created a little video to kind of showcase what that would look like. So I hope you enjoy our comic relief here. So it was great to be able to reopen a little bit in January, and we were able to welcome back our pickleball group, and so it was really nice to hear pickleballs pinging off the paddles again. And in February, we could host our first actual competition in 350 days. So we got to have a volleyball game, and I'm sure that the coaches and players were excited to do something other than the perpetual practicing and training that they had been in. It was a little bittersweet in February because we had to say goodbye to our learning support site. The kids were transitioning back into school in the classroom, which we were thrilled with because we know that's the best place for them to learn and grow. But after 20 weeks of having the program and 75 kids coming through, I was a little sad to see them move on. March brought about a partnership with the Multicare Foundation, and we were able to show their Heartstrings for Hope event, which was a concert to promote hope and healing through this time. And the funds raised at that event went to support local mental health programs here in the Spokane area. Also in March, we were thrilled to be able to welcome back our Hub 360 after school program. We were only able to do the program with 2 schools and have them meet on opposite days, but again, wonderful to have the kids back in and be able to help them with some homework and have some social time and some PE runaround time there. In April, we thought we'd do a bigger event and bring people together, and we'd be outside and we'd do a fun run, and so we came up with a 0.5K run, which was going to be 1 lap around the Hub Sports Center, and we had aid stations set up so that you could make it through that grueling course. Of course, in this year, the weather didn't cooperate, and so we moved the event inside. We set up rope lights to mark out the course. It was 2.5 laps around, and the adults all did great. They made it 2.5 laps around for their 0.5K. The kids were probably 15 to 20 laps. They were just interested in running and moving, which was great. Or that might have been because of that ice cream aid station you see at the bottom there. We might have given them a little too much sugar that they needed to run through and work out. But everybody had a great time with that. We partnered with Vitalant to host a blood drive at the Hub for the first time, and we really appreciate all the work that Vitalant does and our healthcare community, especially over these last 18 months. We've got one coming up October 8th. If you're looking for a place to donate, we'll be working with them again. At the end of May, we got to host our first major event, the P&Q Pacific Northwest Qualifier Volleyball Tournament. And again, just wonderful to have all that activity in the building. There were limited spectators, but we got to live stream all the games so everybody could watch. And the advantage of doing P&Q in May was the weather was gorgeous. And so you can see we had some campsites cropping up around the outside of the building that people could take advantage of. Moved into June, and we partnered with the Warehouse Athletics to host the first ever PAC Northwest Basketball Championship. And so we had 30 teams come together to play basketball. This was our first youth basketball competition in 450 days. But they all competed for their grade level championships, and that was great. East Valley High School, we got to host their grad night all-nighter. And the parents did a wonderful job of spreading activities throughout the entire gym and giving those students a place to go after graduation. Another event that's super pleased that we could bring back together was Dads and Dudes Night. So this is a night for fathers and sons, uncles, nephews, grandpas, grandsons to come and play. And kind of ADD theater at its best is we've got different activities throughout the entire facility. And over 100 fathers and sons came out and played, and there were a lot of sweat and smiles that evening. Summer camps got to be pretty much a full swing this year, and we saw tremendous enrollment in all the different summer camps that we hosted as kids and parents were ready to get out and be active and run around again. And we were thrilled to welcome back Nigel Williams-Goss and his family to teach 120 kids some basketball skills as well as life lessons. July was our police activity league, and we had 45 kids, a record number of kids, come and participate. We had our 3 school districts, Central Valley, East Valley, and West Valley, all send kids out. Law enforcement from Spokane Valley and Liberty Lake Police Department came and played with the kids. And we had a grant from the Spokane Parks Foundation. And so we were able to get backpacks and school supplies and sports supplies and feed the kids lunch every time they came. We had a really unique opportunity to partner with the Rise Above group. And so this is targeted for the Native community to promote health and healing through basketball and sports. And so while we did a basketball clinic, there was also some wonderful speakers. So Lenny Wilkins and Danny Glover and Ruthie Bolton Holyfield all came and talked to these kids about dreaming big dreams and knowing that they had support and encouragement behind them to go after and achieve those dreams. So it was wonderful to be able to partner and host that event at the Hub this year. August brought us outside, and so we got to do the Liberty Lake Throwdown Cornhole tournament out at Orchard Park, which is just about a mile away from the Hub. And just a gorgeous day to be outside, and we had our professional sandbaggers playing and our recreational social baggers and the kids mini bagger division. Over 100 teams came out to participate, music, food trucks, beer garden. Everybody just had a great time with it. So that brings us full circle into September. And so I hope you notice the collaboration and partnerships that we strive to achieve at the Hub. You know, we're more than just a sports gym. And we really try to be a good steward of this resource and provide opportunities for kids and families to come play. So what's coming up? Well, it looks like a fairly normal schedule so far. We've got basketball and volleyball practices happening. Pickleball is being played right now. We have games scheduled with the YMCA and AAU for basketball coming up. Hub 360 is back to its full capacity starting next week. Drive-in movies, homeschool PE, physical activities ready to go. So we're excited about those programs. One program that we hope to do next week was what we call Unlock Your Future. And this was going to be a program to help middle school students learn and understand more about jobs and careers that don't involve a 4-year degree. And so we had 1,800 middle school kids signed up from 5 different school districts to come meet up with 40 companies, manufacturing, constructions, medical, trades, apprenticeship programs, a little bit like speed dating, but getting them to see and understand what those opportunities are out there. Unfortunately, with the rise in COVID cases, just hard to bring a group together in that size and scope and scale. But what we are doing is we're producing a student handbook. And so we'll give this to all the students and the career counselors that they can go through and have a resource this year. And then we're 90% of the way to producing this program. So putting this on in 2022 should be a breeze. And we look forward to bringing it back to its full capacity then. One of the other things that we've been doing over this past year is formed a strategy team at the Hub, and we're looking at different ways that we can continue to serve this community. And one of the things is we own the 3.5 acres to the north side of our building. And so my vision would be to have a multi-use field, artificial turf, lights, pickleball, basketball courts potentially, but the artificial turf and lights would allow us to serve a bunch of different groups. So this would be the soccer, lacrosse, flag football, ultimate frisbee, rugby, and so a lot of different things that we could do on a field like that. The other big thing that I really would be excited about doing is that building in that top corner. Downstairs would be storage and restrooms, but upstairs would be a clubhouse and really a teen center. This would be an intentional space that we would set up for our kids that could come after school, teens and tweens, to come hang out. And we're just a stone's throw away from Selkirk Middle School, so this would be a really nice walk down, hopefully a new trail to come be part of that. So just know that this is something that we're thinking about, and we're looking for ways to grow and expand the way that we serve our community, and hopefully we'll have more information about that as we get farther along into 2022. One of the other things that I've been doing over this last year that I really want to share with you is advocacy. As the kids went back to school virtually, and we had pretty high restrictions on play and participation, I really felt strongly that we needed to advocate for a safe return to play. How could we get these kids back and in motion? And it started with a conversation we had with the YMCA, AAU, and the Warehouse. As we looked last fall about, we probably won't be able to do our normal basketball league. And so we came up with a concept for a 3-on-3 league with no spectators. And we ran that by our local government officials and a local health district, and with their encouragement, we sent that off to the governor's office and the state team to see what we could put together. And unfortunately, that was never able to come to fruition. But that led me to reach out to more youth organizations and facilities across the state. And we became, to reach out just to try and get more numbers and a bigger group to influence the information that we had to share. And so we became allies with these groups, and we found common ground with the recognition that sports were going to be an essential part to help our kids with the mental, emotional, and physical health, and to give them a way to process and work through the stress and anxiety that's brought on from this pandemic. Our group became the Washington State Sports Alliance. And so this was a group of people from across the state coming up with common sense solutions on how sports could be played in a structured atmosphere while trying to mitigate as much risk as possible. We provided data from other states and national sports governing bodies and the governor's team and state and local legislators to try and help them understand how youth sports would be able to be played around the country. And we offered our collective industry expertise to these government groups to help them with policy making. We set up a survey that we sent out in November, and the survey asked parents how the shutdown of sports was affecting them and their families. Within 48 hours, we had 2,623 responses. Overwhelmingly, the concern was about the mental and emotional state of their kids. Kids that were good students were failing classes. Extroverts were becoming reclusive. Kids were starting to have self-harm and suicidal thoughts, and screen time was growing exponentially. And I know this firsthand. As a parent of teenagers, I got to see this, and through my family and through close family friends. It was heartbreaking to read all of those comments and stories, but it really made my resolve more steadfast that there needed to be a voice out there speaking for our kids and trying to find a safe return to play pathway. So I created a spreadsheet with all these comments and broke it down by legislative district, and I sent it off to every state legislator and the governor's team so they could hear directly from their constituents. I testified to a state Senate committee about the importance of sports for our youth and children during this pandemic. And I had many emails and phone conversations with state and local leaders to talk about safe return to play options. Now, we were given opportunities to comment on some policies that would affect youth sports before they became public. And while we were able to get some changes in there, it just seemed like so little against a need that was so great. By mid-January, Washington was one of 5 states that had yet to restart youth sports competitions. So again, it was a relief to be able to start competitions in mid-February, and to hear the balls bouncing and the shoes squeaking was just music to my ears. And while this advocacy took a lot of time, effort, and energy away from my day-to-day responsibilities, I would do it all over again, and I have the full support from my board of directors. As someone that seeks out solutions and tries to find creative ways to solve problems, it was very frustrating to have communication with officials but not really be heard. There was no conversation, there was no dialogue. Every time we seemed to have a conversation, it got hung up around a roadblock and it would stop there. My tenure at the Hub has taught me that you can't stop at the first roadblock or the first brick wall. In fact, if our founding group stopped at the first obstacle that they came into, our facility wouldn't be there, or it would be there, it'd be a warehouse or an RV center, and we wouldn't be having this conversation today about kids and sports. I really wanted our government to have that same passion that I have and our team has for youth sports. I mean, the youth are the future of our community. So that's why I really appreciate all of you being here this morning. I know that getting up early for another virtual meeting was probably not high on your list. We're all really tired of this virtual world. But I really appreciate, again, your time here and attention this morning, because your support of the Hub is also supporting our kids and community. I really believe in the life lessons that kids learn through play and participation and the benefit to their mental, emotional, and physical health by being able to play. We love being part of this community, and just know that the Hub will continue to try and find collaborations and partnerships and provide positive programs for our kids to be able to have these opportunities to learn these life lessons. So thank you very much for being here this morning. We really appreciate your support, and have a great morning.
Well, I'm going to go off script here just a little bit and let everybody know how blessed we are to have Phil as our executive director, Cassie, Ryan, and the thousands of volunteers at the Hub do this, as you can see, for our kids in our community. This is our 10th consecutive year of continued positive growth and success. And as you heard from Phil, this has been another year of amazing programs and opportunities for us to connect. The Hub takes pride in being a place where youth can find a safe, reliable community. We are forecasting over 175,000 people through our facility this coming year. These programs bring an estimated $7 million in economic impact to our region. The breakfast is your chance to play a role in the growth of our program. We cannot do what we do without you. Our sponsors for today's events have set up a matching fund for $25,000. This is amazing, and as you can see our thermometer on your screen right now, I honestly don't mind shaking you upside down for our kids. For every little donation that we have, I have no problem asking. We right now would love to double that, okay? And we can. And so thank you once again to our sponsors for that starting support. And we'd love to realize this entire amount right now is a $50,000 goal. You'll note at the bottom of your screen, it's real easy to donate. I see it rising right now. This is exciting. It's real easy to donate. No button to push or anything. Just fill in your information. Then you can designate the amount of your donation and where you want these funds directed. When we build upon these funds, we can create for $500 a year for a Hub student to attend their 360 program, $250 for a half a year, $100 for just programs for kids. This supports everything that we do. So look at our meter right now. Right now it's growing. That is amazing. Continue to do that. Now, if you already typed in a number and your heart tells you to retype in a number, no law against doing that again if you want to donate some more. So we'd love to hit our $50,000 goal. So once again, folks, I got to tell you something. You know, if you really see what's going on in our community, our growth in the Spokane area has been exponential. And this growth right now can only tell you one thing: there's going to be more kids. There's going to be more kids that need an after-school program to go to. And the Hub has done that for so many years now, has helped kids through trying times, has helped kids realize their potential, has helped kids do all sorts of things through all these programs, and we just love your support. So as we wrap up here today, guys, there's other ways you can donate too. If you'd like to reoccur your draw right now to the hub, call them and say, I want to do something monthly. If it's easier for you to mail in a check, please mail in a check. And if your company would love to match your donation, that would be amazing. And if you're watching in a group right now and you're on somebody's computer, but you can't get to your own computer, later today, go to hubsportscenter.org/donate. I want to thank you for spending part of your morning with us. We are making a difference in our youth, our community, through the support of the Hub Sports Center. We will send out updates on our progress toward our goal next week. We'd love you to make it a great day, and God bless. Goodbye.
Thank you.